Hello and welcome to GIBS Business. Later in the show, we speak to the Consulate General of India to Johannesburg about trade relations between India and Africa. Around the world, weather patterns define the lives of smallholder farmers. Insurance can effectively reduce the impact of severe weather as well as support increased investment in farm productivity. For a long time, smallholder farmers in Kenya did not have insurance for their crop. This all changed with the innovative Kilimo Salamo, an insurance product designed to protect wheat and maize farmers in that country.
Kenya, with a population of over 43 million, lies in the East Africa region. Its economy is the largest amongst the East African countries, contributing close to 40% of their combined GDP. Agriculture accounts for 28% of Kenya's overall GDP, making it a crucial economic sector. Yet, many of the smallholder farmers in this agricultural sector have not been exposed to insurance, as existing insurance models have been designed for the more developed sector of the economy. The absence of insurance, however, leaves these farmers vulnerable to the effects of climate change and other risk. A single season's drought can spiral a family into poverty, which many find impossible to escape from. One insurance company, UAP, based in Kenya, is shifting this paradigm by innovating affordable and accessible insurance models for this group of farmers, previously marginalized from protection. Farming fairs are attended by smallholder farmers. These drive awareness and exposure to the new certified seed and insurance model. The farmer would then go to the local agrovet, dotted across the Kenyan countryside, to purchase the Syngenta certified seeds and the Kilimo Salamo insurance bundle. The agrovet would then take a photograph of the barcode on the seed and fertilizer package with a mobile phone camera. This barcode image is texted to the office in Nairobi, where it is processed. Within 5 minutes of the purchase, the farmer is texted back a policy number and policy information. In order to grow volumes and distribution, it was necessary for this model to evolve. UAP now utilizes aggregators of farmers, these being cooperatives, lending institutions, NGOs, and outgrower schemes, or simply bundle the insurance into input bags. Local weather stations in rural districts will capture environmental data from a 20-kilometer radius and will regularly send information back to the Nairobi office via mobile network. In the event that the farmer experiences a drought or flood or conditions not optimal for harvest, programs at the Nairobi UAP office will pick this up. In the case of a drought or flood, the farmer will receive an automatic payout into their mobile M-Pesa account without having to conduct any paperwork or claims process, removing all complexity from the farmer's end. A further enhancement to the model is that UAP now utilizes satellite imagery to pick up weather patterns in microclimates. The certified seed crop provided through the Kilimo Salamo project survives better in the harsh Kenyan climate, and the corn grown is visibly larger than non-certified crop. This improves the production and output for Kenyan farmers, even without having to make a claim. Jacinta Wanja is one of the farmers benefiting from this new model. One can clearly distinguish between the certified as opposed to non-certified plantations, which seem to be struggling in the heat and poor dry soil. Hard-working farmers like Jacinta struggle against harsh conditions, which make insurance policies imperative to protect these farmers from economic shock.
The UAP insurance model is a great example of innovation at the base of the pyramid. As Dr. Tashmia Ismail, the head of the Inclusive Markets Program at GIBS, explains, there are numerous collaborators that came together to make this model a success.
The Kilimo Salamo Insurance Project was launched under the Agricultural Index Insurance Initiative. The design was first tested in a pilot project where several hundred maize farmers insured their farm inputs against drought in the long rain seasons of 2009. and today has grown to insure over 70,000 farmers. There are several key lessons to be gleaned for this case in terms of how dynamic environment business models should be managed. First, a complex set of partnerships was established between UAP Insurance and the Syngenta Foundation for Sustainable Agriculture. Other collaborators included Bayer Fertilizer, Safaricom, which hosts M-Pesa, the Kenyan Meteorological Department, and the NGO CNFA Agmark. Collaboration is an imperative. Partners are able to share risk, share cost, and share their expertise. This is necessary in order to reach a low-cost model, making the insurance affordable to the end consumer. A symbiotic relationship should be strived for, with all partners aligned to a common objective and a common goal. Lesson 2. While the back end may be complex, on the consumer end, we need simplification. Technology-enabled models work. Quite often, we need developed market technology to service a developing market. Third, and most importantly, the product must meet a real need and add a real value into the end consumer's life. African innovation for an African context, which is mutually beneficial to both the firm and the farmer, can have powerful development impacts and the ability to transform lives.
While India remains one of the top trading partners and sources for foreign direct investment for the African continent, the opportunity exists to strengthen this relationship further. I caught up with Randia Jaswal, the Consulate General of India to Johannesburg, to discuss the relationship between India and Africa. Randia, welcome to GIBS.
Thank you.
You're well aware of the recent McKinsey report, which predicts that India's trade with Africa will quadruple by 2025. What are going to be the driving forces and what sectors is that growth going to come from?
I would say it'll be a two-way trade. On our side, of course, we have the automobile sector, we have the pharmaceuticals, we have the IT. We also need a lot of resources that Africa today can provide. India is a country which is deficient in energy, and we look forward to our energy security calculus. Of course, what Africa has to offer will be of prime importance. We also would like to add to the infrastructure sector in Africa in general. We would also like to build capacities, skill development, education, agriculture. These are, I would say that the kind of promise that we have between our two continents is significant and huge, and we must leverage each other to move towards a better life for all the people on this continent and people in India.
A concern, though, amongst Africans has been that trade towards India has been mainly around resources. What steps are there to broaden that outside of just the resource space?
Resources are going to India, but at the same time, you would see with the change in policies that we are experiencing in countries like South Africa and other parts of Africa, we are also adding a lot to localization content, be it in diamond, which is again a resource-based industry, and diamond polishing in India is big. But with the changes that have happened in South Africa, we are now establishing laboratories. Indian companies are establishing workshops here where they can do polishing and add value to the manufacturing content in the diamond industry in South Africa itself. We are looking at as to how we can, through our investment, add value to employment creation, job creation, skill development, transfer of skills, and transfer of technology to our host societies.
Now, when one drives around and looks at the economies in Africa, one sees a lot of Indian businesses. What has been on the opposite end? Have we seen a lot of businesses setting up in India from Africa?
The two-way trade between India and Africa is somewhere in the region of $95 billion and growing exponentially. So it's not that just that our trade is and we are importing to Africa in general, but Africa's trade to India is also growing significantly. You would see in Africa there are 33 or 34 least developed countries, which happen to be a UN category of the 48 in the world. With these 34 countries, we have special relationship. We have extended duty-free, quota-free preferential market access. We are doing a lot in terms of development cooperation. So obviously, all these instruments and instrumentalities put together, including the offer of training that we are doing to countries we have not so far acceded to WTO as to what they can do so as to accede to the World Trade Organization. All these things and measures, once they are put together and they come together to a fruition, obviously our trade both two ways will pick up significantly.
The phenomenal growth that a lot of the emerging economies have experienced over the last decade or so, India included, seems to be cooling off quite a bit. Will that impact your relations and trade relations with Africa?
Well, what you're talking about may be true in the short-term perspective. In the last 2-3 years, obviously the emerging economies have taken a hit, and so has India. But the longer-term prospects for India and the emerging markets, they are bright. And for India, I can vouch for the fact that we are going to take, our economy is going to move up northwards very soon. This year we have done little less than 5, but going into 2014 and beyond, given the fundamentals of strong domestic demand that we have, the fundamentals of sound macroeconomic policies that we have, given the fact that we are committed to moving on the path of reforms, I think Indian growth story is going to roll on, and that will be good for India-Africa story as well.
On that note, this year is significant in that South Africa is having its own elections, as are 20 other African countries, and India is also having its own elections. Will that see a change in policy towards Africa? Well,
both our countries will have new governments in the May of this year, but given the salience of India-Africa relations, which is rooted in history, rooted in our struggle, rooted in our South-South cooperation, the engagement that we have among the developing countries, the kind of ideas and policies that we share belonging to the developing world, I don't see that how we cannot continue on the path of India-Africa relations that we've both decided to move on.
And what are the successes since 2008 with the summit?
Well, we have moved a great distance on trade, investment, creating the right kind of environment. We are adding, obviously whatever we do in the African continent is in consultation and close cooperation with the African Union and member countries. We have moved significantly ahead on our development cooperation participation. We see that there are significant gaps in Africa on the food security front, on agriculture front, rural development front, on the issue of job creation, on the issue of skill development. These are some of the core challenges that we want to partner Africa with, obviously given your choices and given your preferences. And on all these fronts we have moved significantly ahead. I must here make a mention of the Pan-African e-network that we've established. That is one of our flagship development cooperation platforms between Africa and India, where we've connected centers of excellence in the field of education and health with centers of excellence of education and health in India. And these centers of excellence, they are connected through regional VSAT terminals, where on a daily basis people in hospitals in India and Africa are interacting and bringing the benefits of telemedicine to societies here.
On that note, I'd like to thank you for your time and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
It certainly seems that the relationship between India and Africa will continue to strengthen and the investments will be further accelerated. I hope you enjoyed the show. Until next week, take care.